I'm Mike Shildt, manager of the San Diego Padres, and I'm chopping it up with Buck.
I'm so excited this week to have Coach Mike Shildt on the show, a Charlotte native, by the way, but just a great baseball career and been able to go all over the place. But Coach, you got to tell us about that Olympic high school start here in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh man, yeah, I went to Olympic from '84 to '86. Proud Olympic Trojan. Had a very underwhelming career as a baseball player, and maybe a less underwhelming career as a student. But a lot of good memories at Olympic.
Well, I mean, you went to UNC Asheville. You're a Hall of Famer there, so I don't know if it was underwhelming, but you had a chance to play at the college level. And what made you decide that you wanted to get into coaching and living this life of a Major League Baseball coach?
Yeah, you know what? I grew up in baseball. I obviously played through at UNC Asheville, my alma mater, got a degree in business, and really just still had a heart and desire for the game of baseball and a passion, and started coaching with the team in 92, did it 92, 93, and then realized it's something I really enjoyed, had passion for. I wanted to help players get the most out of their God-given ability, and then started coaching at West Charlotte, and I've been coaching ever since.
Now, you had a facility here. Was it in Charlotte or was it in Asheville? I knew you had a training facility. I remember back in the day when you were doing that. Where exactly did you have that, and how long did you keep that facility?
So it's called On Deck. Started in 2000 in Pineville, suburb of Charlotte, and sold it to the Hill family. Gary Hill played in the big leagues. I coached Jason and Kevin Hill at West Charlotte and at UNC Charlotte. And when I went to take a job scouting with the Cardinals in 2004, they took over the business, and they still still running to this day, going on 24 years, and they've done a fantastic job of taking it to the multiple next steps, and it's a really good business for them and the community.
Now, one of the things too, I always tell people, Charlotte has some great baseball. I grew up playing in Texas.
Okay.
But this North Carolina, South Carolina, man, my son played travel ball, so it's some really good baseball players in this area, as you well know. I mean, I'm a stone's throw from Audrey Kell. Providence is around the corner, so and Myers Park is not far. There's some really, but not just here, all up and down the 40 corridor and 85 as well.
It's a great baseball state, North South Carolina. North Carolina with, I guess, 17 Division I schools that participate in baseball. Players are coming out of Charlotte and North Carolina left and right, collegially, professionally, in the big leagues. It's a very, very good state for baseball. You just mentioned Audrey Kell, Hal Bagwell was there, a good friend of mine, and Danny Hicknight at Providence. And, it's a very, very highly competitive, well-run, well-coached area.
How did you get your love for baseball? Who was it? Grandfather, dad? I mean, how did you fall in love with baseball?
So my mom was actually the AA administrative assistant for the Charlotte O's. And she worked for Francis Crockett. And, when I started 8 years old, I'd be going to the ballpark, and I stayed in the minor league ballpark pretty much all my summer from 8 to 16. And, I just loved it. My dad helped me create a love for the game, grew up a big Orioles fan as it was. He's from Baltimore. So it worked out marvelously that we were the AA team of the Orioles, and I was exposed to it. And, like I say, blessed to be a part of something I enjoyed and just loved from day one, really.
Who was more competitive with baseball, mom or dad? I mean,
oh, that's a good question. They both kind of stayed away out of my playing career. Probably my mom.
Yeah. You can hear screaming and yelling for you. And
all
that
my dad was always down the line, just letting me play. My mom was always like, just breathe. I was like, okay, Mom, I got it.
Well, I know you're considered a teacher of the game, big on discipline, good base running, the fundamentals of baseball. As you watch the game now, How do you keep that alive? Because we see it every World Series run, right, in playoffs. All those little things add up to teams winning World Series, winning championships. How do you kind of keep that as a forefront for you and your players that you have coming up through the system?
Yeah, just listen, there's a lot of facets. Like you said, you've been in baseball, you've son involved with it. There's a lot more. Baseball's evolved more in the last 10, 12 years than it has in the previous history of the game combined.
Mm.
And I think to the benefit of the game and the players. So my point being is there's so many different ways of looking at the game now and training the game, and there's only so much time and energy. But I will say this: at the end of the day, when the game starts, it's really about who plays the game better. It is a competition, and you just look at it from a very matter of fact perspective. You don't know what's going to happen, how it's going to happen, what situation is going to dictate the balance of the game, and so if you feel like you can get a team that'll buy into the details and being willing to understand and study the game, and of course my job's to prepare the club for that to happen. You win on the margins, and if we can win every, as many competitive opportunities that exist in a baseball game, we're ready for it because the game does. To your point, playoffs obviously it's hyper focused, but it's still every game you're going to see for the most part is going to hinge on a couple of things that if teams do well or not can help determine a positive or not so positive outcome.
You've had some really good players that may have been not as great of players starting out, but you were able to help develop them, and they help, their work ethic played a role in it. Tell us a little bit about guys like Ryan Copeland or Phil Soretto or some of the other players that maybe we don't know about that have, you could see it, but you knew they had that to be developed so they could get to that next level.
Yeah, first of all, you just do your part. I mean, the players gets all the credit, so you just do your part to be there for them and create structure with them. And yeah, it's some guys you mentioned that in rookie ball, like Copeland was pitcher of the year in the Happy League, and Phil Soretto was a nice young man that came in and helped us. And neither one got to the big leagues, but you just helped them get as far as they could in their journey. And so been real privileged to be a part of a lot of players' lives. That's really why I alluded to earlier, got into coaching, just to be that and still have that mentality. I just want to be there to help individuals and teams be the best version of themselves.
Coach, baseball is a game of failure, right? I mean, it is. You go 3 for 10, you're doing something, right? Something. How do you help your guys, but also yourself? I mean, as a coach, you got to, it's a lot of ball y'all play. How do you keep guys motivated, and how do you work with them to get the best out of every time they step up to the plate or in the field?
Yeah, I think the first part is the preparation. Making sure that. And clearly at the big league level, these guys are, they're big leaguers for a reason. They know what they're doing, how they're doing it. So you don't necessarily have to help them with their individual preparation. You just help with the understanding of the information of what they're going to see and how to assimilate it. But I think it's really important to be very consistent and understand that the game is really hard. And not alibi when things aren't going well if there's not the right kind of effort or focus. That's different, but it doesn't work out in our favor. Ball is such a thin margin, like I alluded to earlier. And it's maddening to some degree because you can hit a ball great and it goes right at somebody, then somebody get a bleeder that falls in, you end up winning a game. So you just got to stay even keel and really try to be as process oriented, but also recognize there's a human component to it. And just try to be really positive with guys. And when clearly when it's going well, it's easier and it's fun. And when you have a stretch where balls are getting hit at people and things just aren't bouncing your way, you just that we stay together, stay focused, and the tide will turn in that deal too.
With the technology that you have now, I'm always amazed at how quickly I can see guys finishing a at bat and then they go right down to the dugout to get their iPad. What are some of the things that players are looking for, the things that they're trying to get an advantage for the next time out, or just what are some of those things that people that aren't in the dugout don't understand?
Right. Well, I think everybody's got their own individual ways they're looking at it. Some guys do want to look at it. Most guys are paying attention to the iPad. Maybe it's sometimes the detriment of seeing the competition in front of them. But that's, it's there, and it's a great resource for them. I think a lot of them are just double checking, how the ball's moving, how, where the plate zones is, that ball strike. And then they're looking at, what kind of position they may be in. So I think the guys look at it from maybe different lenses. But it is a great tool for the guys to use to get immediate feedback.
Now, I got to ask you, I mean, growing up, it's hard not to love the Cardinals. I was an Astros fan by where I grew up, but spent a little few years in St. Louis. You got a chance to coach the Cardinals. That was your first, opportunity. Tell us a little bit about that and how you progressed into the chair of the head guy and, all of those things. Tell us a little bit about your time in St. Louis.
Yeah, like I said, I grew up an Oriole fan, and then got the opportunity to start to scout with the Cardinals in 2004. And, candidly, I thought I'd made it, and I really had. Like, I didn't play professional baseball, and here I am working for one of the more iconic, historic franchises in Major League Baseball. And it's just to continue to get opportunities. Had a ton of people that were able to pour into me and give me, guidance and wisdom and believe in me, and help me grow and mentored me to always be able to take that, whatever that next step was in my development. And they were very, they were just there for me. They were very intentional about what those next steps should be. And then I got to a point where I, kind of got a grasp of that, and then they'd move me to the next thing. And then I looked up, 13 years later, I'm in the big leagues as a coach, and never anticipated getting to the big leagues in any capacity, because one of the things that rightfully I was told and believed in, firmly was, my job's not to get to the big leagues. My job's to help the players get there. And so, any promotion that I got was nice, but not anything I really was seeking or asking for. And then, but my cumulative experiences, and then being fortunate enough to be with some really good teams at one, got me, helped me get to the big leagues. And Mike Matheny was kind enough to be on his staff in 2017, and got the job, soon after that, the big league level. And so really still humbled by it, and hard to believe it happened, but fortunate and grateful, and enjoyed my time there managing. And now I'm super grateful to be with the Padres organization.
Now, I got to ask you about your first win when they threw you in the laundry basket, and guys. How was that? I mean, that had to be great. Your first one. I mean, all that time you grew up playing ball. We kind of aspire to that. I know I did when I was young, wanting to get, think I was going to be Earl Campbell or somebody in the NFL. I had a chance to do that. So how did that feel for you when you got that first MLB
It was,
win?
I mean, listen, I took over, which was bittersweet, in the middle of the season at an interim basis. And, got the opportunity the night before, and, didn't sleep, and just a wave of emotions. And, candidly didn't think I didn't expect it to happen. Now it's like, oh my gosh, now you're managing the Cardinals, and you look up, and it's this day game right before the All-Star break in July of 18 against the Reds. And Jim Riggleman's the manager on the other club, who was one of the guys that took care of me in the St. Louis organization. So that was heady. And we won the game. And like I said, after they put you in the laundry basket, and, there's a couple different beverages that are super cold. And it was just beyond surreal, and it's clearly a memory that I'll cherish forever.
We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with Chopping It Up with Buck.
Chopping It Up with Buck is brought to you by Thin Energy. Join the Thin Energy Vibe Drive today at thinenergy.com.
At Heslop Wealth Advisors, our goal is to help small businesses develop quality retirement plans for their employees through our Lunch and Learn seminars. We provide lunch and learning tools to help your company succeed and unmatched customer service.
Hey, Padre fans, this is Mike Shildt, your new manager. Really excited about being your new skipper, and just can't tell you how much we're excited to play in front of you in 2024. You guys are amazing. You make this place rock. It's a big party atmosphere. Our guys love playing in front of you, and we're looking to make sure we're going to win some games, get in the playoffs, and eventually win a World Series for San Diego. Let's go.
We are back on Chopping It Up with Buck.
Coach Mike Shildt on the show. Now, the other thing is, in 21, you guys had a 17-game winning streak. You were riding high. And I read your article, and I thought it was the vulnerability that you showed in that when all that happened with St. Louis, and you were surprised and shocked. How has that helped you now with this new opportunity? Because I think you said it best. I felt like I was going to end here,
right.
And it, and we know business is business, and we hate it because it's a game we grow up playing, but then it becomes business.
Right.
Now that you're with the Padres, going through their organization, and now back in the seat, how has that experience helped you prepare for this next run?
Man, I tell you, yeah, it's a great game. Baseball's a beautiful game, but it can definitely be a cruel business, and that's part of it. So, how did it help me? It's helped me a lot. I mean, first of all, there's familiarity as I start the ground running here in San Diego. You have a perspective of how things are done. I like the fact that, now it's with different people that I've had the opportunity to get to know, and a lot of wonderful people in this organization that now can help me start and get the ground running. So there's not any learning curve really about who and how to, work with the people in their certain positions, because it takes so many people to put together a club.
Yeah.
So that part's good. I've got the experience to draw from. I've got people that I've got relationships with, and also, the 2 years that I was away from managing, it created an opportunity to continue to talk to players, get a pulse on what players think and how they feel and what they like, and just get away and just watch the game and of course reflect. A lot of things that I felt were really positive of what I was able to do in St. Louis, and there's some things that I go, I'd like to do that maybe different, and that's super healthy, and I'm excited about being able to be even a better version of myself in this role.
Yeah. Well, and you were also really close to the owner, Peter Seidler, who passed. I was actually in town when that happened, and I mean, I was just blown away by the outpouring of love and affection for him. That doesn't always happen in Major League Baseball, football, or anything. You were close to him. What were some of the things that he shared with you, and you guys got to talk and discuss before he passed?
Yeah, you know what? Super disappointing, sad for him and his wife. His wife Shildt and their kids, and the Sidler family, and the city of San Diego. I said, it can be a cruel business. There was nothing cruel in the business world with Peter Sidler. He was pure goodness. When I got the opportunity to come over here, one of the primary deciding factors was, he said, Mike, I'll be happy to sit down with you on a pretty regular basis and talk about the game, and I want to learn from you, and I want to borrow ideas from you. And it was super humbling, and you know what? I really thought, okay, I'll get a 10-minute window every now and again with this guy. And he was tremendous. We had basically a monthly standing meeting and it was an hour and sometimes an hour and a half that he would block off his calendar. He was fully present with all the things that clearly he had operating to going on, running a team, and, just a busy man. And what a wonderful soul, what a kind human being, what a thoughtful person. It was always about other people. It was very genuine. We talked about the game. We talked about, the rules and how it was changing. We talked about how ownership worked. We talked about the different committees and how ownership worked with in general. And then we talked about just life, and he was huge in community and charity. Got me involved with a local group here called Lucky Duck Foundation, which is he's on the board of, and there's a Tuesday group that meets. I was actually at an event with them last night for a brief period of time. That's there to help, do the best to serve the homeless community. And so we talked about that. I just life wisdom. He was just beyond special, and I miss him dearly. And clearly, he's one of these people that, you want to be like.
Yeah. And that's one of the things we always like to talk about. Share some of the community things that you've done. I know you're involved with a lot of foundations and different things in the baseball sense, but I'm intrigued by, are there any other things because I know your time
No,
is
that's fine.
valuable.
That's fine.
You know, I know you don't have as much time, but just tell us a little bit about some of the things that you've poured into, because like you said, a lot of these people poured into you as you were coming up the ladder.
Yeah, I think, for me, it's about big picture things, about helping people. Again, that's why I got into coaching. The old saying, baseball's been very good to me. It
Yep.
has been. And me and Ed Walton, who's a retired coach for 40 years at Charlotte Country Day, who I've known back to my days at Crockett Park when he was the official scorer and I was running the scoreboard. We started a foundation in 2012, formalized it. We'd done some things prior to helping the community, but made it more official. Started a program called Baseball for Life, which still exists. We're going on our 12th year, and it's a program to help middle school young men just create experiences for them through baseball. There's no real expectation, or the motivating part of the program is not to develop the next great baseball player. That happens fantastic. We're just using baseball as a vehicle to be with 6th through 8th graders that we look up as educators and say, where are young men likely to maybe get a little sideways with their decision-making process, and just how do we be a small part of helping guys stay on the right track. And again, ideally it's, at-risk young men. And then we realize that most every 6th to 8th grader is at risk. So it's, kind of hard to qualify that, but, more underserved young people that wouldn't otherwise have experiences. So, we have leadership weekends. We talk about, how to shake hands, how to write thank you notes. We do some service projects. We make sandwiches and deliver them to homeless shelters. Again, we have speakers come in and talk to the players. We've had, banquets where we go to Raintree Country Club and sit down. And this is a lot of time for these guys young men to have their first experience at such a, kind of a place, opens their horizon. Yeah. We get them a collared shirt, and, we get them all the swag for it. And, the Charlotte Knights have been fantastic about allowing us to come out and bring the kids for no cost. And we have a summer camp for them that Mike Hennessy, the head coach of Charlotte Country Day, spearheads. And, we have.
Hey, my son played at Latin, so I know him, and all the names. Yeah, we played all those guys back in the day.
I got you. Yeah. So, we have, 6 to 10, depending on the year. COVID got us a little interrupted, being able to be in person with the group, and, but, touch points. And we always have a life skill that, we're going to share with them that hopefully they can take away from it. It's been a satisfying program for a lot of people, including myself.
Let us know how we can help. I mean, we really get involved with community organizations, and those are the things that it's kind of, I know coaches poured into me, and that's why I'm sitting here and been able to be on TV and play at the pro level. But it was because somebody saw something that maybe I didn't even realize they do. You know what I mean? So when I hear that, I'm always intrigued and want to be a part of that, because I know you can say something to a kid or help them, and you don't even realize how far they can go by just giving them that extra, hey, yeah, you can do this. This is how you do it.
That's right. I mean, I think that's probably the biggest thing and it's usually, that mustard seed you plant that ends up growing later, and you don't know when that's going to, that encouraging word or that experience, that creating awareness for the most part for these young men to listen to a guest speaker that can talk about their journey and say, oh, wow, I can maybe do that, or go and see some of the different things that they go, and they go, okay, there's a whole world out here that I'm capable of living, and maybe try to get them in the right direction towards doing that.
Baseball was once the most popular sport. It's kind of backed off and not as popular now. What are some of the things that baseball as a organization and a program and just in general can do to help kids get back into it and really want to play the game?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Like we did.
It's interesting about baseball and its growth, because we've lost some of the growth in America's game, baseball, but America's game of baseball is now becoming more global. So baseball's always been played in a lot of different places, especially like Latin America. And that has continued to be a hotbed for players. You know, they love it. They're good about it. They're good with it. They're passionate about it. But now you're seeing, you know, different markets, you know, Germany, Australia. We're going to go open our season in Seoul, Korea this year. You know, the Japanese Korean market has always been a big market for baseball, but now we're starting to get into Major League Baseball. But back to what we're doing in the state side, you know, there is some growth, there is some, but it has become too socioeconomic. You know, we alluded on deck earlier. You know, the travel baseball, there's a price to it. You know, people are, and I don't begrudge anybody for making a living. You know, they're monetizing baseball more. People are doing really well in that space with the travel, but it also creates an expense, and at the expense of some of the underserved population that don't have the means to do that. I know Major League Baseball is continuing to work to figure out how they can support that down and create more interest. That's not a one-off camp. That's more sustainable. And my hope is that, and I'll have to be a part of creating that, an opportunity for baseball to be played, and interest to be had with athletes, regardless of their finances.
Yeah. Well, Coach, we'll get you out of here in a little bit. Greatest story never told. Something that people don't know about Coach Mike Shildt that we want to hear here. I mean, that's one of the things we get people to kind of just tell us, open up a little bit and tell us, what's the greatest story never told about you?
Man, that's a good one. Nothing comes to the forefront of my mind. You know,
and if it, go ahead.
No, I don't. Go ahead. Give me
Yeah. And then how'd you and your wife meet?
Well, we met through our identical twin sister.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So she introduced us, so I knew what she was going to look like. So that was cool. You know, but that was great. And trying to think of something else that's super exciting and I can tell that it won't get me in trouble, but nothing comes off the top of my head. So.
I know the feeling there. I understand that. No. I think it's the interesting thing is in your profession, you probably have so many of these that people know about you, but we'll figure out one that we'll come back
another day.
We do a thing and it's football related called 2-minute drill. Quick questions to get you out of here because I know it's time. What would you be doing if you were not in baseball?
That's a great question. I'm scary to think what that would be. I would probably be a teacher.
Okay. If you could be a superhero, what would that be, or who would that be?
I'm not sure who it would be. Want to be invisible.
Okay. Yeah. Why invisible?
Well, Why? I mean, you can just come and go at your leisure. And I wouldn't use it necessarily to eavesdrop. I just would, you know, way faster to get through airport security.
I hear you on that one. Would your 12-year-old self think you were cool?
I think so. I do. Yeah. He would think he would probably think I'm more dorky than I would have liked to have turned out to be. You know, but I think he would think he would be blown away knowing that I'm actually doing what I'm doing.
Isn't that awesome when you think back to when you're 12 and you say, man, look where I've gotten, and I'm still going, right? I'm not stopping, but I can't imagine some of the places that we've been blessed with.
Amen to that.
Well, last one for you. You about to score. You watching down the field, you making it easy. I know in baseball parlance, you about to hit it out the park. What, mountains or beach?
Beach. Yeah. I actually live on the water in North Carolina, a small sleepy town called Beaufort.
I know where it is.
It's beautiful. Yeah. Love it. And it's great. I love the mountains, went to school in Asheville, but push come to shove, water.
Coach, appreciate you. I really appreciate you coming on today.